I'm the one, not the two, I won't say it again.
Yeah, what's good? It's your man Olafome, aka MasterZedX, aka you know the rest. It's been a while, and that's okay. I'm here with a new video, sharing with you the blade guide that I have made on this new game that I've been playing called Warborn Above Ashes. Now, this is a game that I had no plans on playing, but I've known about for a few months now. Shout outs to Jonah and Dream who have been streaming it and, you know, putting the awareness out there. And those are the homies, so, you know, I had to check it out when it actually launched. So here I am. I've been playing it for about a week now. It's fun. It's fun as shit. I no marketing. I love organic shit. So it's like, it's a fun game and it's definitely interesting enough to try. But anyway, moving on. We're going to talk about the guide that I have made here for this character that is part of the selection of characters that you can choose from in playing this game. The character's name is called Blade, and I went spear with him, obviously, because God spear. But yeah, so we're going to start with the skills that I think are the most important in his kit, and just in general how you should build him, right? So Blade is a agility based DPS character. You can buy him from the drift person in the underground bar or whatever for like 3,600 from the incoming drifters, or 3K on the day it comes. But it's not one of those free ones where you can get for 2K or for free, right? So you got to pay for it. His passive is critical hits trigger additional damage and reduce armor, and it's called Reap. This skill is easily one of the most important. Well, this passive is easily one of the most important skills in his kit, and I'll tell you in a little bit. Next is Tempest Slash, which is basically his alt. It's it's a sketchy skill. I would use it more for survivability than for just damage. I mean, it does good damage, but because of the way it functions, it's not necessarily a very reliant skill. Like, you can trust the skill to get you the results you want, because it can switch targets, and it can also not execute depending on how many slashes you get off. If you can read here, it says higher attack speed increases attack count. So if you don't have enough attack speed, you might not attack as many times as you would to get the necessary amount of damage you really need to, right? But all right, that's that with his skill kit. Next, we're gonna talk builds. So I went spear, going storm spear, so he's storm blade. First skill I like the most is sweep and strike. I think sweep and strike is amazing. We're gonna talk about that. Then I like lance thrust for PvE. It's decent in 1v1 PvP, but in group PvP I would not suggest taking lance thrust, and again we'll talk about that. Next is Aegis Arc, which is the alt for storm spear, and then the passive Spear Scar, which is like a auto attack stack, right? Using a weapon skill grants the next 3 basic attacks gain 60% attack speed plus 2.5 meter range and 30% basic attack lifesteal. This effect lasts 6 seconds. Also has a 45% chance to grant a shield for 2 seconds, right? So that's the power of just this passive alone. All right, so that's the weapon skills. As far as armor, I went Wraith Veil Shade because, again, passives, when dealing direct damage with basic attacks, grants plus 10% critical rate plus 35% attack speed for 6 seconds, and it triggers every 25 seconds. That's just auto attacks, right? Next is Beast Collar's Coat. Chose Beast Collar's Coat because of the active skill that it had. It's actually pretty decent. It does decent damage, but the active skill is that it reduces the enemy's movement speed. So it's a straight line. So anyone in front of you, you just snarl them, you slow them down, and anyone that is in stealth, they're also visible, and you know you're reducing their damage and reducing their movement speed. It's very good for chasing. Next, I have Swift Stride boots, which is great for this class in general, just because of the attack speed bonus that it has. So it increases movement speed by 60% and attack speed by 35% for 5 seconds. It's just like, why not? Why would you not have that, right? So that's basically the skills, right? So now we're gonna talk about how this whole build works together, and just in general why it's just great. This is why I'm making this guide, right? So starting off with the passives, like I was saying with the start, Blade's passives are pretty nice. Like, so he has this critical hits trigger additional damage and reduces armor, right? So like, you're building an agility based DPS champion, so you're gonna get those crits, and you should be maximizing on getting crit hits and crit damage. So on critical hit, you're gonna get a heal, you're gonna heal yourself, you're gonna self heal, you're gonna self sustain, right? And it's also an AoE. It does physical damage to nearby enemies, so it's like an AoE on its own, and it reduces their armor by 5%, and the cooldown for this skill is 1.3 seconds. So if you have a high crit rate and high attack speed, you're non-stop cyclone reaping. You're just spamming this shit. So like at higher levels, I can imagine this just gets even better, right? So that's the passive that stacks, right? That's passive number 1. Now passive number 2, we have Spear Scar. So using a weapon skill grants the next 3 basic attacks 60%, right? So sweep and strike, even though it's a basic attack skill, it still counts as a skill, right? So adding sweep and strike with reap and Spear Scar creates a synergy that like allows you to do things other characters can't. You basically can like half HP a whole group of anything, people or mobs. I can show you with just an auto attack, and that's the initiate, just like that. That was literally 2 hits. That was literally 2 hits, and that was a crit too. So just to show you the type of damage you could really like do with that skill, with that passive synergy. Hold on. I was wondering where that sound was coming from. Okay, so Spear Scar synergy with the Q, with the sweep and strike synergy, and the passive reap cyclone. That's why I start with the Q, and that's also why I go with the Wraith Veil Shade helmet, because it has this rage passive, which is triggers every 25 seconds when dealing direct damage with basic attacks. Again, grants plus 10% crit rate and plus 35% attack speed. Like, it all stacks. It works well together, so you have to like keep them together, and so I did, you know. The next skill is Lance Thrust. Now Lance Thrust, why I like it is it's rapid damage, you know, it's a cone. But why I don't like it is because you can't stop it once you start it. Once you start that cast, you are a sitting duck for 4 seconds. About 4 seconds. I think that's the channel time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 seconds. You're standing there for 4 seconds. So if you're in group PvP and you're like, oh, look at this group right here, I can just AoE them. No, you're more like standing there to get hit. You're not doing enough damage to sustain you just standing there. So for PvP, like group PvP, it's not great. In 1v1 PvPs, oh, it's fantastic, because I mean, if someone's facing you, then what are you doing, right? But yeah, I don't use lance thrust for group PvP. I actually switch to either lance impale, where it's like you're throwing a spear to that location, or I switch to lance recall because you know you can just like use this. This is actually a pretty nice PvP skill, 1v1s and group PvP skill. It's not gonna do damage, but it's gonna keep you alive and give you a shield and a movement speed, you know, so it all stacks well together when you do that. So yeah, there's that. Then Aegis Arc is good for disengaging and to some extent engaging. It's kind of like Xin Zhao, right? Like you hit him with this sweep. Let me find some mobs real quick. You hit him with the sweep that like clears the room, and then it also gives you a resistance. It gives you a 50% damage resistance for 6 seconds, which is really nice. Like 50% damage resistance, not magic resistance, not physical damage resistance, just damage resistance. So any damage at all is reduced by 50% for 6 seconds after using that skill. So you can either engage with it, you can pop it before you get in the fight, or you can pop it while you're in the fight. You know what I'm saying? And it does a lot of damage too, so it's pretty decent. It creates a disruption field that lasts 8 seconds. Enemies within 8 meters are slowed and take 20%, and take 20% less damage. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you use it to engage, you gotta pop it before you get in the fight, because if you get in the fight and then use it, you'll knock them away. And if they're intelligent, they're just gonna run away for 8 seconds and then come back when you don't have the buff on, right? So you have to be kind of like tactical with how you use it, and that's the stamp for that, right? And then next is Tempest Slash, right? Tempest Slash is cool. It looks cool. It's flashy, does damage, but it's not a great PvP skill. It's not, because it leaves you vulnerable. It puts you in a position where you might not, you can't predict where you're gonna end up, right? Because anybody could just show up on the screen, and it does so many slashes that it just literally teleports you to what the last farthest person, right? So if I can, let me start here. I'm gonna start the Tempest Slash here. Let me see where it takes me to. There's 2 people over here. Doesn't take me there. Okay, that's good. But usually, if they were a little closer, it would have teleported me all the way over here. So now imagine, like, you're in a war, a PvP war. There's like 200 people on your screen, and you're thinking, oh, let me just freaking Tempest Slash.
I'll wait for this guy to try and revive right on top of me here. Oh, he's dead. Hold it.
Oh shit. To execute, bro, you're gonna end up behind that group of 200 people, because it's just gonna teleport you so far behind. So I don't really use it in PvP. In group PvP, 1v1 PvP, it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but group PvP, you got to be tactical on how you use it, right? Next is Snarl. Like I said, this is one of those skills that I like. You like, let me show you something, right? So I could have went Reflect Retaliation Coat, but I chose Snarl because it adds extra damage to the kit, you know, extra actual like direct damage. It's a straight line. The cooldown is 30 seconds or about. It does decent damage. It offers CC that is direct. It doesn't disengage, right? So it's just the overall good skill to have. Just generally, it's like, I was like, I prefer this compared to like Reflect, or, I mean, don't get me wrong, Reflect is dope. I'm not hating on Reflect. In fact, I have Reflect on one of my other builds, which I'll make another video for. But Reflect is dope, but it's just Snarl works better in this kit, I think. And you can switch it if you like, and you tell me in the comments, you let me know. I like Snarl. It's worked well for me so far in Rifts, PvE, even in group PvP is really good. Like war PvP is really good. So I'm not hating on Snarl. I'm keeping Snarl. Yeah, So next we have the movement speed buff from the boots, the Swift Stride boots that I chose. This gives attack speed, right? Increases movement speed by 60%, attack speed by 35%. Basic shit. Cooldown on it is less than 30 seconds, so you can basically spam this shit. Like, so you're spamming. So in a synergized, like, if you're trying to get a clap right on something, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pop off with these skills. You're gonna jump in with, hold on, let me show you. You're gonna jump in with, hold on before I do that. Oh, I'm being attacked. All right, you're gonna pop off with your movement speed. See how crazy that reap just clears the whole room? It's so nuts. Like, it's so broken, I don't even know. Like, but I hope they don't nerf it. They're probably gonna nerf it, honestly, but you know, it literally clears the whole room. You know, I barely see people playing Blade as a spear user. I see people using it with a dagger a lot, or like a sword, but I don't see people using it as a spear. Like, bruh, his spear kit is disgusting. Like, you have no idea. Like, but basically that's how you pop it off. You pop off your F, hit with the Q, and then you can actually switch the lance thrust here, and then you could just, like, after you Q, you just hit them with the lance thrust, and then you just keep spamming. I mean, I have mine as QWER. I know the default is like A or something, but like, you could just basically auto attack non-stop. Like, and then if you want to be flashy, you can hit them with that. But you know, that's really a survival skill, bro. It's like, if you're about to die or if you're trying to execute, hit that shit. You know, like, it's like a gap closer / survival skill, but it is not a damage skill. You do not want to use that to maximize your damage. You're better off just doing auto attacks the whole time. Because that skill, not only are you unable to do anything for the process of it channeling, but it leaves you vulnerable. Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it for this guide. I'm probably gonna make an Umbra guide as well. I'll probably put some PvP clips in this video so you can see how it looks in PvP. But yeah, yo, it's been a while. Thank you guys for watching this. If you guys like found this helpful, make sure you hit that like, comment, and some more shit. Peace.
I just focus on the bed, like my brother said. Heard you buying swag, get your fucking bread.